G-Spot Podcast. I'm Katrina Garcia, one of your hosts, and my other co-host is...
Oh, me?
Yes, you.
Who am I?
I don't know, some guy that has to do with razors. Just saying. So, I had an interesting incident that happened in our hood that was a little bit kind of
You
bad.
mean like the people who tried to knock on my door the second we went live?
Yeah, well, no, this was a lot more intense. I think it was Tuesday, and moved into a new neighborhood and so on and so forth, got a new house. It's very quiet up here, and we started hearing all these sirens, and they're getting close. Thinking, what the hell's going on? Go outside and see there's fire department, ambulance, 4 cop cars, and we're thinking, oh no, maybe it's one of our neighbors. Go down there. Evidently what had happened is one of the workers that was painting one of the houses down the way was coming out of the, how do I say this nicely, the commode that they had out there, the portable.
Yeah.
And had a massive heart attack, fell flat on his face. They worked on him for 30 minutes and he passed away. Whoa. So it was very, and I've been having a hard time with this because if you think about it, I mean, if you go and you pass away tomorrow, would you be happy with the way your life is? Did you get as much as you wanted to get done and accomplished? Or were there all these lists that you said one day, and you never did?
You know, it's funny you say that because in 2010, I was on a motorcycle trip with a friend. June 2010. I was in Arkansas for a conference, and friends of mine from Dallas had moved up there to be their IT person. Him and his wife, we just said, okay, after the conference on Sunday, let's go for a ride. I'm going to stay at your house for a couple extra days and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Got on our bikes Sunday after the church service, rode down, stopped at the gas station, put gas, took off from the gas station to go and head out and over the mountains. And first curve we hit this is Arkansas, first curve we hit inside the Oklahoma border, all right, he crashed and died. His wife, sitting on the back of the bike, lived. And where we were at, we couldn't get cell service. We were out there in the boonies. So we had to go. I had to run to a neighbor's house and ask them to call 911 and get an ambulance out. And it was an hour and 10 minutes before an ambulance showed up. And that was the first time I ever got a taste of that. Sitting there and watching that. It just, And I thought about it because it was a month later. I want to say it's like a month and 2 days later that I got on my bike and disappeared for a month driving. That's the biggest trip I ever took on a bike. I left in the end of July and came back at the end, almost to September before I came back. And I went through Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Oregon, Washington, Montana, Idaho, South Dakota, North Dakota, Colorado, Wyoming. I went through all those states on a bike ride for over a month and a half. And a month before I left for that big trip that I'd been planning for a year, a friend of mine dies in a motorcycle accident.
And I didn't know this man. I mean, he was one of the workers, but you could tell they were working on him. Because you can see underneath the truck, because all the cop cars, the cars they have out here are big SUVs. So they're high up off the ground. And I'm sure it's because of the weather and everything. But they're high up off the ground, so you can still see him underneath the trucks. Mm-hmm. And you can see his arm doing this while they're doing the compressions on him. Yeah. I mean, it just makes you wonder, when you're seeing something like that. And I didn't want to go all the way down there because I thought, And I know this sounds bad, but I didn't want to put a face to that body because if I did, then it would have been more real. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I stayed at a distance, and then one of the neighbors said, "Yeah, he didn't make it. He passed away." It's just, I mean, and all we were thinking about is he probably told his wife goodbye, told his kids goodbye, have a good morning, I'll see you tonight, never to return. And imagine the call they got. I have some bad news for you. I mean, because they were trying to get a hold of his boss, and it just makes you think, have you done everything you want to do? And if you died tomorrow, and I know this is a morbid subject, but if you died tomorrow, would you be happy with the way your life is gone? Or would you have this to-do list of, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this? Just saying.
Remember when we said this?
Yes, I'm a gonna. I'm saying that I'm sure there's a lot of people. I mean, for me, there are some things that I haven't really truly done yet.
What are you waiting for?
Well, I'm still working on it with regards to finances and stuff. But the point is it's more like travel pieces that I haven't done yet. But I actually put a bucket list together because I thought, and I did this a while back, because if you don't really know what you want to do, what you want to accomplish in life, how do you know if you've actually accomplished it? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't have a list, so.
Wait a minute. Well, why don't you have a list?
I do now. I didn't then.
Wait a minute. And here's the other, this is the other thing. How big is your list?
Well, it's gotten quite a bit shorter because I've actually done quite a few things on the bucket list.
Well, no, I learned to shorten the list of what I want to do. Because when I do it, I feel so accomplished. All right, now I want to do something else. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. And that's everyday tasks, though.
No. I'm talking like, you know what I mean? The big, wow. Okay, well, I want to go to France, and I want to go to Germany, and I want to go to, no. I wanted to do 1 million miles on a motorcycle. Great, I did that. I'm satisfied with life right now. Yes, I now set a new one to go after, as opposed to having this list of 45, because the list of 45 makes you go, I'm going nowhere.
Yeah.
The list of 1, oh my God, it is huge, all right, when you do it. Because you have nothing on the other side going, yeah, but I have so many more to do. No, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, I've said this to Gwen many, many times in our personal relationship. I said, you know, you don't understand. I am happy with the life I have right now. Every night when I go to bed with the idea that I live the greatest life I ever
possibly could.
Yeah. And I'm happy with the life I've lived. Right? I don't have, now, I'm not saying I don't have big dreams. I'm just saying I don't sit there and focus on 50 million big dreams. I focus on one at a time. Why? Because now I get to enjoy the moment of that one. Does it mean I'd like to do other things? Yes, I will set that goal next. But I'm not going to write down the goal to do 50 big things at one time, because that only that gives you a what I want to say is a split mind. You know what I mean? That old biblical thing. All right, a double-minded man. I'm not double-minded. I'm focused on what I want to do. That gives me that sense of I'm good. Okay, you know, because my dad, 2010, my dad died on a massage table. Of all places.
Did he get a happy ending?
I'm
sorry, I had to go there. I'm sorry.
Apparently
you did.
Apparently, yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't need this big, huge list. I'm not saying that. What I'm simply saying is, why not live each day as if it's your best and last day?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. And I think a lot of us don't put ourselves into that mindset. A lot of us have those lists, whether they be tasks or things you want to do or the bucket list. Doesn't matter. You have lists. And I think a lot of us, just like you said, have so many things on our list that when we try and get some of these accomplished and we're not accomplishing as much as we want to, we get frustrated, or we feel like, I could have done this and this and it didn't happen. I mean, it just makes you wonder once you get up there to the pearly gates or whatever that looks like, you get that question. So did you
No,
enjoy
it's
it while you were there?
It's not heaven. It's called Texas.
What no, I'm sorry, that's hell for me. I don't look at it that way.
Again, Katrina, let me tell you about where I was moving when I came to Texas.
Where were you moving?
I was moving to just north of San Francisco, California.
Oh, well.
And I stopped in Texas and I said, I'm going to stay here. Now, I've had doubts about whether this is where I want to be a couple times. But the longer I'm here, the more I'm like, I like Texas.
Which is great. But you know what? The longer I'm here in New Mexico, the more I realize I'm closer to the heavens than Texas. Texas is low lying. New Mexico's up high.
Yeah. Okay. That's where Roswell is,
Just saying. Well, I'm not near Roswell, so.
You're not that far from Roswell.
And I'm not too far from. I'm like 45 minutes to Texas, so I'm just saying.
25
that's
minutes
the high end of Texas.
No, you're 25 minutes from the side of Texas that nobody wants to admit's Texas. El Paso is not Texas.
Well, let's put it this way: when the rest of Texas went down, their electricity went down. El Paso did not, because they're on a separate grid.
Was that so?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
Just saying. They were still working away. Still had electricity. Just saying. We can go through this on and on.
Okay. Because here in Dallas area, we can't afford things like generators and keep going all the time.
Yeah.
No, that's literally, that's one of my goals for this place, is to get a generator, and I can kick off with it.
Self-sufficient.
Yep, the grid can take care of whatever, do whatever it wants. So.
Yep. Oh, what about solar out there? Is that even a thing in
So yeah, you can. Half my neighbors got solar. Let's see how many solar panels I can see looking out my window. There's one house with them. 3 houses I can see out my window. I can see 3 houses with solar panels.
Do you guys get enough sun? You feel like you can?
Oh hell yeah!
Pull it.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm against on the solar panels right now, and Gwen and I've had this discussion a lot, is because in the state of Texas you have to hire a electronic, someone with electrical
engineer,
electrical certifications to do it. So here's what it is, because it's locked in. The electrical people, like, I can buy all the stuff and connect it, and they've got to hook it to my grid. I have no problem with that, but Texas won't let you do that. Instead, you've got to buy $2,000 worth of equipment and pay them $60,000 to install it. I have a real problem with that.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
bullshit.
It is.
Bullshit.
I mean, I could hook up a solar generator to run one or two. If I didn't have such a big house, I could run solar and run a few things off my house and run. But unfortunately, I have a lot of electric in my house. Yeah. So I'm not in favor of that. To me, the solar technology is not advanced enough that I'm willing to take a loan out for $60,000. And by the time I'm done paying that loan out, I have to pay another $50,000 to upgrade it. All right. In the meantime, it is still not paid for itself in electrical bills.
Well, in our old house in California, we had a sweet deal.
Yeah.
It was all the cost of the install and everything was all part of our fees that we paid on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And they came out, because they owned it, they came out and fixed it for free. We had to pay nothing, zero.
Was that a lease?
Nothing up front and nothing for installation or any of that. And our bills were cut like in half, if not less, if not more.
Okay.
Because we were paying, if we had the air conditioner on during the time when it was really hot,
yeah,
we had 1 month we paid like $450 for the month. When we never paid anything higher, running the heater, doesn't matter. The highest we've ever had to pay was $117.
Okay.
Highest we ever had to pay.
So here's where it is. Here's where the thing is in Texas is. So a lot of people are paying this huge exorbitant amount to have solar put on their house. So their monthly payments are, say, $225 a month.
Yeah.
Their electric bill would have been $330. And then they get the solar and it doesn't, you know what I mean, doesn't 100% cover. So now they have to pay 120 over here. They still have to pay the 220 in payments, right?
Yep.
So they end up paying more. So, but my point is that by the time you recoup the money you invested to put the solar on there, it is now ancient equipment. You have to replace it. All right, and you still, you know what I mean, in some cases, you're still not out of the blue for saving money. You're still not zero, right?
No.
And that's where I'm getting at. All right, if the I'd be willing to pay $60,000 if the technology was there to know that. All right, I'm never gonna have to pay an electric bill again. But they can't guarantee that.
Well, part of that, though, too, even in California, the only way you can do that is being off the grid. Because even though you're putting it on your home, you still have to be part of the grid.
Yeah.
And originally, when we started, we were getting checks from the electric company. And then they realized, wait a minute, there's more people on this and we're losing money. So we need to start charging them at least just a fee to utilize the grid. Even though we and a bunch of the other neighbors were putting into the grid. We were not pulling, we were putting into the grid. And we still had to pay. And then the prices started going back up again. But, I mean, that just says, though, that it does work because the electric company said, yeah, this is working too good. We're not making enough money.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing is you said to me you had your stuff leased. This is something else. Now, my real estate agent, she went through a class on this. And they highly advised her on different things because of it, to not recommend it for people. They said basically, and it's because our house is here. So most of the houses here, ours is a smaller house, different story. But most of the houses here are 5 to 7,000 square feet. All right, the amount of money they've got to pay to get the solar to make that work is just outrageous.
Yeah, because that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, so they're leasing it, right? And here's the other catch, she said, is that leasing it, when they go to sell that house, the new owners have to qualify for that lease on top of the price of the house. And she says, in some cases, owners of houses are having to drop their sales price by $10,000 to $20,000 to be able to get people to qualify for the financing of the lease on the solar.
Ours was set up so that no matter who bought the house, as long as they had everything in place to buy the house, finances and everything, it was just an automatic pass over.
Yeah.
That they didn't have to. And we went, before we did any of this, we really investigated to find out exactly, is it going to work for us? Is it worth the price? Because everybody said, oh, you got to buy the equipment. Oh, you should lease it. And it went back and forth. But what we happened to get worked great for us. And we transferred it over to the new owner. And at that point, he had the opportunity to either take it off or keep it going.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was up to him. And he didn't have to qualify. They just said, just give us the paperwork. We'll transfer it over. Because that was one of the deals that we were looking at and saying, well, what if we sell this house? What happens to the lease on this? And they said, you just pass it on. You don't owe anything. You pass it on.
Okay.
That's what we did. Done.
Well, you know what I mean? And how many years ago did you have this done?
Oh, we had it done probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And been using it for 10 years. And it was
it could have been different 10 years ago too. But you know what I mean? Yeah. The idea behind this stuff is, there's certain things I'm skeptical on, and it's just the way I am because I don't want to get screwed.
Wait, Tim, say that again. You don't want to get what?
I don't want to get screwed.
You don't want to get what? Screwed. I thought that's what all men like to do. Yes, I went there. And he's speechless.
I just ran something over in my office. Hold on, I gotta get that. Well, I gotta get a drink on that one. Oh my gosh!
Sorry, I'm full of them today. They're just coming out. Yes, that was
full of it. Yes, you are. All right. So I want to move our discussion off of
Forward.
solar, whatever.
Solar.
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 Let's move on to something more impactful.
Well,
So
you had
last
something
night,
you were going to bring up.
okay, wait a minute. Not last night, it was the night before last. I think it was 2 nights ago. Yeah, 2 nights ago. Friends of ours, Ken, you know Ken Walls, right?
Yes.
And you know Jeffrey Wolf out there in California.
Yes.
So Jeffrey Wolf had Ken Walls on his show, and they actually do this thing. And you know that, like, I've been talking about doing the website company forever. I'm going to make this other branch of my company. It's going to make this whole, and I'm going to build it because of the fact that I want to build something for my kids to run. So Ken Walls says, you can go to ChatGPT and you can tell it. Now, I'm going to actually see if I can bring it up.
ChatGPT.
Hold on. I actually got to, I almost hit the wrong button. All right.
Oops. Don't want to do that.
I almost hit the button and kicked myself out of here, but instead I want to do this. Present, share screen. All right. So see this right here?
Yes. So
what this says is, Ken said to this, he says, you can go into ChatGPT and you can say, you can write this. And I wrote it almost verbatim what it is. We're creating a company called Simple Easy Websites. You, ChatGPT, are the CEO. Our company will have 5-page websites and we'll have the price so-and-so. Our hosting will be, all right. And I, as you see, I described out everything here, right? And I said at the end of it, see if I can actually highlight it. You don't have to create anything for me. Just say, okay, if you understand. This is how smart this thing is. Okay, I understand. And these as your CEO, I'm ready to support you, right?
Uh-huh.
From there, all right, and I'm going to stop the screen share and come back. From there, I'm able to now ask questions based on what we're doing. All right. And it made me think about this very concept. Do you remember the TV show Undercover Billionaire?
Yes, we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Glenn Stearns, the original series. All right, Glenn Stearns, not the series that had Grant Cardone onto it. I'm not going to even touch on, again, I'm not a fan of Grant Cardone, but whatever. Glenn Stearns, the very concept, walked into the town and said, I'm going to create $1 million business in 90 days. And I thought about this as I was doing this and said, you know what? Why don't I take from 90 days from that day and create a business with this?
And you did.
No, this is just the start. I'm in day 2. All right. It actually wrote me out first 30 days what to do each day. It gave me I had it ask me, give me a task list.
So the ChatGPT, if I understand this, the ChatGPT,
yeah.
You put in what it was that you're trying to set up for a business, and then asking it questions, and it's saying it's your CEO, and now it's giving you advice on what you need to do step by step.
Yeah. One of the things I asked in there, all right, let me see if I go down to it. The question I asked was, could you write a daily checklist of tasks for me to do for this company for the next 30 days? And here this is what I wrote. Here is your daily checklist of tasks for the next 30 days to help you manage your new company, Simple Easy Websites. All right. And I'm on day 3, right? And doing it. All right. Got everything. Got the website up. Got social media sites up.
Wow.
All right. I'm doing the tasks as it tells me to, right? Yeah. Yes, Susie. It is very, very awesome.
Hi, Susie.
Susie Barbaccini. I love her. I miss her. I wish
love
I could.
Love you, Susie.
Yeah. But I'm using this as my check against. All right. I'm using it as my check against. But that's not the point I'm trying to bring here. My point is, why can't we sometimes put ourselves out to a challenge? I'm going to do this with my company in the next 90 days. So if you've got to use ChatGPT to say, hey, write me a 90-day task list. Tell me what to do for the next 30 days. In my companies, I have these, what I call operations manuals. This is the daily checklist for my company, for my tasks. Today is Thursday. It's open on Thursday. Why? Because I give myself assigned tasks to do. It's what keeps my business going. Yes, over here I have a to-do list I'm working on. It's part of work on to-do list. It's part of the things, right?
Yep.
Why is it that we, as entrepreneurs, can sometimes go to these conferences, and you and I have been to a ton of Susie, we've all been to these conferences. We go out there and we get all riled up, and we go home, we do absolutely fucking nothing.
Gonna do it,
Yeah.
and go.
We do absolutely nothing with what we learn.
Let me check my emails. Let me check my voicemail. Let me check. Oh, I have this to do and that to do. And then you have all these files. I know I've got books and files of all this stuff.
You need to, all right, you know what I mean? This is the place I'm saying, if you're going to use ChatGPT for something, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Tell me what to do to make this happen. That doesn't mean you follow it word by word, but maybe that's what some of us need to do, to start writing down a checklist of what we need to do, because there is no reason that any of us in our business, we all could find somebody who's competitive in our business and they have a bigger company, and we all could take and go, why don't I take my company to the next level?
Yeah.
Right?
Agree. Well, and here's the thing, though, too, in business, and I think this is the main reason why we don't, is we get in our own way. We start to go down that road. We start to do the thing or whatever the task list. We go through and we set everything up, and then we start looking at it and realizing, oh, that's a lot of stuff. You know, maybe I'll do this one thing, or maybe I'll do this. And we start to procrastinate. And then pretty soon we put that aside. And that list just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. So what I've been doing is I take the top 3 things on my list, get that done. Once those are done, then I take the next 3, and so on and so forth. But I only concentrate on 3 things. That's it. 3 things each day. And what I found, which kind of ties into this, is that, which ties into this, I'm not a big planner kind of gal where you have the planner book and you plan and you write everything out, because I've got it on my board. But I found a better way to utilize this planner. Instead of writing what I need to do, I'm writing what I have done. So I'm writing what I've accomplished. And instead of writing all these tasks of what I need to do, look, this is what I've accomplished.
Done lists. These are the done lists. Yeah.
Which makes more sense, which is, I finally now know the best way to utilize these planners, because the longest time I kept saying, I don't need one. This is, I use it, and then this isn't working. So now I feel 100% better because I'm writing things down that I've done. And now I can actually look at it and say, holy shit, I got a lot of stuff done. I think that's the way we should be using the planner. Not, this is what
you hit it right there in the head. This is the way we should be using any planner. Is we should be doctoring it to work our own way.
Yes.
I love it when someone says, well, this planner worked great for me. Here, let me give you one. And the first thing I do with it is throw it in the trash.
Yep.
Because I'm looking always for what works for me, right? And if you become someone, and this is a Larry Broughton thing, all right? I got this from Larry. I remember when Larry was going through his divorce, and he talked about, he took time out of his schedule for personal growth every day.
Yep.
All right? Because he realized he had to become a better person, not just a business guy, a better person. And when you learn that in your life, you learn how to grow yourself. You want to be successful in business. The reason most people aren't successful in business is because they want to follow some stepped guideline that someone gives them, and they want to treat their business like a job. Yes, boss. What do I do?
I think part of it, though, too, is they want the easy way out. Instead of saying,
Ken, we were talking about you, Ken.
Your ears burning?
Your ears ringing because we were talking about you, and we were sharing. If you're still there, Ken, say yes, and I'll share what we should just shared.
I'm in the meantime, while he's saying yes, if he's still there, I'm just saying that I think a lot of entrepreneurs want to take the easy way out.
They do.
They
don't
want
want
to
to be an
say, you know,
entrepreneur.
do it for me. I don't want to do it. It's too much for me to do. Where's my easy button? I can just push it and it's done.
Yeah. Okay, here it goes, Ken. So, Ken, this is what I actually was actually sharing that you said the other night, and this is what I did. So you can see it, Ken. There it is, plain as day. That's what I typed in.
Yep.
All right. Then the second question I put in was, this is my budget. Tell me what to do. Could you write an email to to an existing list I have who are coaches? Gave me that. I mean, this is one can do. Could you write a daily checklist? Would you write an employee search ad? So I've got job ads out for right now for salespeople and web developers. All right. Next, write me a set of 20 tweets to announce the launch of our company. I got those. All right. Little by little, I am adding to this. And it's all because Ken Walls said, hey, you know, you could do this in ChatGPT. So I said, okay, well, you two are, while they're talking about it, I went and did it.
Yep.
All right. And that prompted me to kick off that challenge thing that we're talking about here of getting out there and doing something to change your business in 90 days. Because no matter what is going on in your business, you can change it in the next 90 days.
Yep.
90 days from now, your business can be an entirely different thing if you look at it in 90-day segments. There's a reason we have quarters, right? Because you change your business quarter by quarter. I'm doing this as a whole set of goals because I talked about doing this. How long? Wait a minute. You and I have been in the web business but I've been on the content only for years. And you and I started talking, I think, a year ago when we started doing this pod. I'm like, I think about doing websites. And you told me, Tim, you should.
Good idea, huh?
And yeah, look at this. Finally, all right, I'm putting a 90-day thing in to do it. And I've already made 2 deals that is going to put me in a position to probably bring in about 40 to 50 clients from these 2 places that are going to get me announced.
Yep.
But if I didn't do it, if I didn't say, okay, Ken, that's a good idea. Maybe I just need to do it this way. You know?
Well, and I think that's just like Susie said, isn't that just being human when it comes to the easy button? I mean, it's so much, I think when people are just trying to become an entrepreneur, that's the hardest part, is because they sit down and they start doing it and they say, this is so hard. Yep. How do people do this? I have to do this and I have to do that. And then I have to get this together and that together. And this is too hard. And then they give up. They say, I don't want to do this anymore. This is harder than when I had a job. I'll just go get a job.
No. When someone comes to me, they come to me. I've had them come to me in my coaching for years. Tell me the fastest way to make cash. Go get a W-2 job because you will have a paycheck in 2 weeks.
Yep.
That's the fastest way to make cash. I'm just being honest. If you are not an entrepreneur, you're not good at creating things, go get a job. Because the hardest thing for an entrepreneur is to find regular income.
True.
And if you're addicted to that regular paycheck, I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to be the hardest addiction. That's harder to break than alcohol.
I agree. Totally agree. And you have to be willing to go with the punches. You have to be willing to say.
Wait a minute. Was it harder to beat than your sex addiction? Got you back.
1 for Tim, 1 for Katrina. Just saying. I mean, it just, and that's the thing is a lot of times as entrepreneurs, like you said, we go to all of these classes, we go to all of these seminars, and what happens? Mm-hmm. We don't do anything about it. We don't act upon it. I think personally, we should have a virtual event or something, and that during that virtual, you were talking about it, that you walk away where you've gotten at least 3 things done. Yeah. And that's it. That's done. Instead of saying, okay, go do all this. Now go have fun and enjoy. Yeah. No, if you think about how many times when we go to these classes, we're given all this information, but not told how to do it.
No. I want to stop you there. There's a reason. Why?
Well, because they want you to sign up for them to show
for them to help you to do it.
But 9 times out of 10, that doesn't even happen.
Well, no. The reason it doesn't happen because they're looking for the easy button.
Yes.
They're not understanding. I mean, I remember, I can tell you, I wrote a rather large check, all right, to Craig to be in his elite program.
Chris
Roush.
Long
We are
time
getting
no
all
see.
the rock stars in today, baby.
Yay!
Okay, don't tell Craig we're here. He's not allowed to come.
Keep it a secret.
But no, all right. We go to those programs, and the whole purpose of those events, if you and I hosted an event, what's the whole purpose of the event is for us to get the people to come to us and say, well, Tim and Katrina, yes, I want you guys to help me do this.
Yeah. But we still don't, but still they've done statistics and science based on these things.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10 people don't act on it.
No.
Don't do a thing. Even if they're shown, listen, we're going to take this pen and we're going to show you how to take the ink out and so on and so forth. You set? You ready to go? Yeah. But I don't want to do it. Will you do it for me?
No, people need motivation more than they need to know how.
Yep.
All right. They need motivation. That's why people like Chris. All right, Chris, great example. All right. You ever seen Chris do his podcast? He has motivation out there and out there. Motivation.
Yes.
That's what these people need. They don't need, you know what I mean? Step 1 here, step 2 here. They don't need that shit. They need someone like a Chris, you know what I mean? Whipping them in the ass going, dude, do the fucking work.
Mindset.
You know?
It's the mindset. And that's what we've talked about. It's your mindset. In fact, we talked about this where we were talking about the homeless, and there have been science based on the homeless that 9 out of 10 of them, it has to do with the mindset.
It is.
The mindset.
Yeah.
And if you can't get your mind right, you can't get yourself into that mindset of what you want to do and how you want to accomplish that. Doesn't matter, like you said, doesn't matter where you go, doesn't matter what you're given, doesn't matter checklist, doesn't matter. You're not going to do it because you don't believe you can do it. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in the dream that you're trying to accomplish or the why.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm glad you said that, because just because I have this doesn't mean I get it all done every day.
No.
I am serious. Just because I have this. You know why I have this here to give me the kick in the ass. But just because I have it doesn't mean I do it, because there's days I walk in here, right now it's afternoon, solar screens are down and the sun's up. I'm freaking hot in here, right? I don't have a fan in this room, right? I don't want to. I was like, man, I don't want to do this podcast today. But why? I made a commitment to you, right? No. This is why people work with coaches. People work with other people, because they understand the concept that it takes the motivation more than the how-to. I'm on this podcast with you because I committed to do this with you, right?
Yes.
Does it mean
both committed to this? Even when we haven't felt well and we've been on here and sniffling and everything, we've been here doing this.
That's the freaking word right there.
Yep. Discipline.
But
exactly.
In this case here with this podcast, we have this because I am accountability to you. All right. Because there's days I don't want to do it, but I promised Katrina I would do it. So I'm going to show up. And if I'm going to show up, I'm going to give it my best. Yeah. I'm not just going to show up and go, yeah, I'm here, Katrina. Go ahead, do the show.
So what's going on?
What's going on? And that's the business people are trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I promised Katrina I'd show up. I'm here, Katrina. No. If I've made the commitment to you, I've got to actually put in the effort.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Yes, you love that. All right, Chris, I want you to see the blue one there. The blue one, Chris. I built it, baby. I built 2 of them during the pandemic, and I still don't understand how a guitar works.
But he asked.
I can't play. I can't play, Chris. No. I built the guitar, so I figured I could understand how the guitar works to play it, and it is confusing. But I built the guitar, and I actually have another one that I'm working on to build a third. So, yeah. Anyway.
Just say it. But I mean, that's how we started this whole podcast is the guy who passed away in our neighborhood that was just a worker that went to work on that day. He was working. He didn't know that was his last day. And he passed away. and we were talking about how much regrets you have when you don't get things done, and talking about your lists and how a lot of people make this huge list, but do they actually get anything accomplished? And that's why we were talking about you do one thing at a time, or you do the top 3 things. You chunk it down so that you can handle it.
Yeah.
And if your list is getting too big, then put that aside and just give yourself three things on your list. That's it. All you can handle. Because you're always going to be behind the curveball if you don't.
No. Here's the other thing is take 3 things. I love that idea. Take 3 things, but here's this. I remember staying at Jason Nast's house in Phoenix, Arizona. I love Jason to death, and I'm staying there. And about midday, I'm like, you know what, Jason? I'm going to the coffee shop to get a cup of coffee. Right? And Jason's like, you can make coffee right in the kitchen. I'm like, no.
I got to have my Starbucks.
Well, no, it wasn't that I had to have my Starbucks. It was that I needed to separate myself from the workspace for a couple minutes. There's a reason in business, all right, that why they have breaks for people. Give yourself a break and walk out. Here now, I mean, at my house, because I got so much going on, I do a walk around the. Part of my task every day is to walk the property.
Yep.
I walk the property, right? That gets me out. Now, I don't always go. I go to Starbucks in the morning, and I don't go in the afternoon. But the reason being is sometimes you need to take, what I mean, your little list. Don't take your phone. Don't take your computer, and go to Starbucks. Just sit there with your freaking list at Starbucks and think about it.
On paper.
Yeah. Because what will happen when you're thinking about it there, all right, you're in a clear mindset. You're not worried about, oh my God, look at that squirrel. You're not, right? That's where we get more focused. Again, this comes down to getting this mindset. This is like, you know what I mean? As an entrepreneur, you get in here, you look at all of these things you got to do. Oh man, I'm not going to get all that done today. It's just like the bucket list. Man, I've got these 50 things I want to do in my life. And you do one of them, and you should be so happy you got one of them done, but you're not, because you go, oh man, there's 49 more.
49 more to go. Yeah.
When instead, it's why I live the way I do. I do it one at a time. That one task is done. I am happy. I'm excited. Cool.
Yep. Just like how we talked about using the planner. You use it so it works for you. But I mean, this is something we talked about a lot, is how people have, and I still don't, I mean, I get it to a certain degree, because we're, like we said, we're almost our worst enemy. We get in our way all the time. And so I think the biggest piece is, how do we get out of our way? How do we get past that? How do we get to that point where it's like, okay, I got to get this shit done. How do we get out of my way so I can start moving forward?
So this is an example here. I'm gonna use this as an example, Chris. I'm not picking on you, brother. I promise. All right, it's gonna sound like I'm not. We find programs, all right, and we want to go with the trendy programs. Now, this is a good program. A lot of people have been doing the 75 hard. All right, a lot of people, you and I both know, have been doing the 75 hard. It's a good program, but so often, instead of trying to get started on your own, we got to go find the in program of the moment.
Yeah.
75 hard is a good program. I'm not putting the program down, but I'm saying so often that's where we all get caught up in. I've got to go do certain program. All right. Which is the biggest thing that's been on me with doing the content business I've had over the years was, all right, the ideas of everybody coming on calls. Well, tell me what app you use for that. I'm like, you're asking the wrong damn question. All right. Build the process, find the apps to take away the process, right? Don't buy the apps and then try to make the apps fit your lifestyle. That's just like the planner we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That's why so many planners fail, because they are not built around the individual. They're built around a certain program, and we all try to look cool. So,
I agree.
So it holds me to my word, and I don't like doing it. And when I don't want to make it, I make myself do it. See? But then again, I've never known Chris to be somebody who doesn't want to go do things. It's the way he always has been. But anyway.
No, and if you think about it, those are the really successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They do it. They don't make up excuses. They just do it. I mean, there's one of my favorite, and I'm sure not everybody's favorite, but Gates. Bill Gates, I don't know if you've read about him, but he will literally take a month off go in this small little cabin and take a whole pile full of books and literally read. That's all he does, is just sit in that cabin and read. Goes on hike, reads. Goes on hikes, reads. And that's how he enlightens himself and gets himself more knowledge, so that now he can talk about things and do things in a better way, because he's educating himself.
What was the singer? She died while she was off on her trip in Honduras. From the musical group with the three girls. Left Eye Lisa Lopez or something like that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she was doing. She was all caught up in her world, so she went to this out there world, all right, to get away, all right, and she died there, right? But she knew that was part of her life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Number one, she was practicing something that would clear her mind and get her mindset right. Number two, she was being happy in the moment. So when she passed away, she didn't pass away and go, well, I guess I didn't get to do everything I get. No, she passed away in the moment.
Yeah.
All right. Living out what she wanted to do in that moment, not into that, well, I've got 50 more things to do on my bucket list.
You imagine getting up at the pearly gates. Wait, I have 49 more things.
Yeah, I have 40 more, not 49 more things.
I gotta go down. I'm not done. This can't happen. This can't happen right now.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just saying. But like we said, it's mindset. And dedication, discipline, like Chris was saying. And it's all about how badly do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
And when I want something so bad, I can taste it. I remember I wanted, as you know, my husband works for Mercedes-Benz. I wanted a Mercedes.
Tell him I still need that windshield. Anyway.
I wanted a Mercedes-Benz so bad, I could taste it. And I would go in and pick them up from work, whatever. And I'd go look at all of the ones that were in the lobby. And I would on the showroom and on the lot. And I would look at this one and look at that one ad nauseum. I wanted one so bad. And then one day we got one. But it got to that point that I wanted it. We found ways to get it because we wanted it so bad.
You know what we call a Mercedes in Texas?
Yeah.
A cheap car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because here in Texas, we drive pickup trucks that are $75,000 and $125,000 freaking $1,000.
Well,
you can buy a Mercedes for $40,000.
Well, here's the thing, and my husband reminds me of this every time. The person who started and came up with the car in the first place was Mercedes. Before Ford came along, before any of the other ones came along, Mercedes came up with the first car, according to what my husband has said. Ford came up with the idea to have an affordable car for the majority of people.
Yeah.
And set up the assembly line.
Yeah.
But it was still the number one. But it just depends on who you talk to, where you're at, because there's a lot of trucks out here too. It's truck city out here like it is in Texas.
No. When I went to trade that damn truck in, because I wanted another truck. I loved my 3/4 ton Dodge. I love that big Ram truck, right? I loved it. I'd get another one, except for, the warranty was out and I had problems with it. Man, I just could not get my arms around the idea I had to pay $85,000 to buy the same truck.
Yeah. Well,
and I got my Mercedes was $45,000. It's like, it's the cheap car. It was the cheap option for me. That's what's sad.
And it is sad. But the thing is I know the other thing with Mercedes, from what my husband told me, is that a lot of the safety features you have in the cars, Mercedes came up with.
Yeah, Mercedes owns the patent to a lot of them. Yeah, I know that.
And they shared the patent.
Yeah.
So, just like you look at anything, when you're looking at business, where you're looking at cars, whatever the case may be, what's going to be the best for you? What's going to work for you? And I think that's a lot of times what we don't do as entrepreneurs. We look at the other person. And this is how I got caught up. When I first started my business, I got some advice and somebody said, go look at your competition, see what they're doing, and then you can emulate it or, pick and choose what you needed. The problem I had was I got so much into the competition it made me, I couldn't move.
I
I was like,
wait a minute.
why should I even start when there's so many people out there doing this and doing that? I can't do any better. Why am I even doing this?
No. With my new company here, I'm not even looking, and I have friends in it. I'm not even looking. The only person I'm talking to in the business is you, because we have a podcast together.
Yes.
I was almost going to reach out, and I'm like, whoa. I'm not even going to see what they're doing. I'm going to set it up my way and see what happens, because I looked at, for what I'm trying to do with it, I'm looking at a model, trying to build a business model. I looked at business models like GoDaddy's business model. How can I take GoDaddy's business model and make that my business model in this? You know what I mean? It's almost like the Ford. I didn't invent the idea. Ford didn't invent the idea, but he found a way to process it and make it better.
And make it better.
That's right.
Just like Steve Jobs. He
Yeah.
didn't invent the cell phone, but he found a way to make it
better. And that's exactly what we're doing. I'm doing in my business. I'm doing this new business. I'm trying to do a way that by learning a business model that someone else is doing it and applying it to this. Now, probably I will find other people along the way who are using the same business model. Not sure. We'll find out, right? But I'm doing it on the idea of a business model that goes on a grander scale, right? As opposed to, all right, everybody else in this industry that we're in is going after, because they're all small people like me. I'm not trying to do small people. I'm trying to build. I'm already interviewing people. I don't even have a customer yet.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing staff, and I don't even have a customer yet. Yeah.
And that's how you have to look at it. You also have to look at it. How big do you want your business to be? How much money do you actually want to be making? There are some people out there that are very happy making the small and keeping their business small, because that's what they want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I think part of that, though, too, is when we were talking about going into these classes and so forth, or these events, a lot of times people will meet other people that are making way more than they are, and then they kind of get deflated and feel like, well, geez, I don't know, maybe this isn't right for me. So I think the general knowledge, I think when it comes to the best advice, I think for me that worked for me is just being you.
Yeah.
Be you, do you, stay in your lane, do what works best for you. Don't worry about to the left and to the right. Just worry about what your why is. Figure out how you're going to manage that and what it is you want to make and accomplish for your business. Don't worry about anybody else. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another hard part that I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through, is they're always worried about the other guy. What
Mm-hmm.
about them? What are they doing? Maybe I should do this, or maybe I should do that. They're always second guessing themselves.
Yeah, I'm not second guessing what I'm doing, and I'm going down. I set it all up without second guessing it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way you should do it. And the other hard part too is that a lot of people have, and I had a hard time finding this, is your why. Why are you doing it? And if you say to make money,
no. I don't have it in a banner.
Clarify that.
No, I don't have it in a banner. But you have seen and heard me say this a ton of times. What is the mission of my company? It fits the mission of my company. Exactly. When I went and I was like, oh my God, this fits the mission of my company.
Making it simple and easy.
No. 10,000 content creators with a following of 10,000 people making $10,000 a month.
Oh, that's right. This
website company fits that mission.
Yeah.
It helps develop that mission. And I'm like, when that you would not believe, that was like, oh, heavens opened up for me the day I went, oh my God, I created a company that fits the mission I came up with 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Mission. All right. I'm creating this business because I want something that I can say to my kids. Here's a job. Here's a company you can run.
Yeah.
And if my kids don't want to run it, I can put employees in charge of it and say, this is going to be your business.
I remember when I first started my business, before the ink even dried on my cards, I went to SCORE and sat down and talked to a guy who was in corporate, and he made a whole list. You got to come up with a business plan. You got to come up with the mission. You got to come up with the vision. You got to come up with this. You got to come up with this, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just looked at him and said, I don't even know who my clients are. How am I going to come up with, and I think what I learned along the way is that I had to wing it. I I had to figure out what worked and what didn't. And I think, and that's why I believe I've been so successful in this, is because I figured it out on my own. I figured out this will work, this won't. Yeah. Because like we talked about, what's the one key thing that makes an entrepreneur an entrepreneur?
They keep going no matter what.
Themselves, their uniqueness, because we're all individuals. We are not alike. Thank God we're not alike. We're all different. That's what makes us special. And that's what makes your business different, is because your business is you. And I think once you figure that out, everything else kind of falls into place.
Yeah. Well, this has been an interesting show, and we're getting close to the top of the hour here. So, what was your best highlight you thought of today? You never thought we'd talk about.
Well, there were a couple times I went there and I shouldn't have. before our audience joined. They can hear it in the replay.
Yep, I guess you'll have to hear the replay.
Yep, they'll have to hear the replay. That was my highlight because it made me laugh. I'm just saying.
Yep. I personally want to thank everybody who stopped by today. We had a lot of people stop by.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, Brooke has stopped by. Even Brooke, all right, she's somebody I know here from the Dallas area. Susie stopped by. Carlos Phoenix stopped by. I haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, and Christopher Rausch, Ken Walls. All right. Anyway. Good podcast. Thank you all for your comments too. Awesome. Yep.
This is what makes it a fun times. All right. We do enjoy doing this podcast every week. We're going to be here next week, right? We're still on next week? Okay.
Yes, we are.
I forget when we're taking breaks. I took it off my schedule when we're not, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
Oh, okay.
We will be here at the same bat channel, same bat time.
Yep.
Just saying. For the business, G-Spot.
Yep. Two people talking about the hottest things we think are going on in business.
Yep. Hopefully you find your G-Spot in business. I'm just it's been one of those days.
Yep.
At that rate.
At that rate, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tim Gillette, Simple Easy Marketing, but go to simpleeasywebsites.com. Check out our new page, our new business model.
And I'm Katrina Garcia with KG Website Designs, helping you make money online with your website.
Yep. Yeah, I do that too.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Later.